All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's another very special day of the year, actually really a weekend. It's the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and it's the third ever class. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com, joined by the owner of the Syracuse Crunch. For those of you who don't keep up on minor league hockey, that is the American Hockey League team for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've sent a lot of people to the NHL, to the Lightning, and to other teams over the years. Howard Dolgon. Howard, how does it feel to be here in Troy, New York, not far from Syracuse, to be inducted into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame?
Well, it's obviously a great honor, and it was a bit of a surprise when I got the call from the executive director, especially when he mentioned the other members of my class, like Eruzione and Dennis Podman and Ken Laura, and players that have achieved greatness on the international stage and obviously in the NHL and Stanley Cup.
Now, you obviously, as you have said, it was a surprise. You're an owner, so it's not the same thing as playing, as being on the ice during the Olympics or in the NHL. But you have had a very important role in helping to develop. Now, you're not the coach, obviously, but you're developing these young kids who are going on to NHL careers. And, I mean, it starts at the top of the Syracuse Crunch, one of the model franchises in the American Hockey League. So, just what do you attribute that to?
Well, we're real proud of that. Our relationship with the Lightning is really so streamlined. It's like one organization. And so the culture has got to be consistent. What we do in Syracuse, what we do in Tampa, it's pretty much the same, both from an operational standpoint and from how they play the game. So to see players like Nikita Kucherov and Brandon Point, Andre Vasilevsky, Andre Polak, Yanni Gord, on and on and on, go in there and achieve just great success and become Stanley Cup champions, you almost feel like a father whose child has reached their goal. And with a lot of pride, because we knew them when they were learning the game, when they were really honing their skills and learning to become complete players. And so, I'm so grateful to my partners in Tampa, for our staff that, takes the culture very seriously and how to operate and how to interact with the players. So it's been a wonderful 30 years so far.
Now, it's not just a wonderful 30 years for them, and I mean, that was an all-star cast of players that you just mentioned. I mean, you put them up against anybody, and that team has a very good chance. Forget about all the rest of the depth lineup and all that stuff. But this weekend is about you. As much as you've helped your team accomplish, this weekend is about you and the people being inducted into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. You're a graduate of CUNY Brooklyn College. Maybe that's not Villanova or Alabama or someplace that a lot of people from all over the world know. But you know what? I went to CUNY Brooklyn College. Stan Fisher, last year's inductee, went to CUNY Brooklyn College. Alan Trader, formerly of the New York Times, went to Brooklyn College. Maybe there's something in the water in Brooklyn that, there's some good people from there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, I would probably not get into Brooklyn College now. It's a lot harder to get in. So when I went, my choice was go away and pay, or go to Brooklyn and you'll have to pay for your books. But my parents were not well off. The answer was pretty simple. And I think a lot of candidly, any success I've had has been, I would attribute to my Brooklyn upbringing, my street upbringing, less than my textbooks. Learning how to think on the fly, learning how to encounter situations that may not be favorable, whether it's on the street or in business, and trying to make the best of it. And I also learned to take chances, right? And not to be overtly risky, right? But to a degree to try to accomplish something, you've got to cross the line every now and then. So in 2010, for instance, we were the first team in the American Hockey League to dare put an outdoor game on. Now, unlike the NHL, which is a much larger project, the teams do these games by themselves. There's no real help from the league. So my staff was putting on another 39 home games. Now to do one big game, we did it at the State Fairgrounds. We had to actually build the locker rooms, a rink, and whatnot on a dirt racetrack.
A lot of work.
And we wound up with close to 21,000 people. 4 years later, we put the first ever game in the Syracuse then known as the carry gun. And so the record for professional game in the U.S. are close to 31,000. So I've always been a believer that, take a chance. Don't, be edgy. And I think our fans enjoy that. They expect the crunch to do something different, whether it's a big event, whether it's a promotion that's different. And I think that has helped us along the way for the last 30 years.
And who doesn't know more about promotion? The man who you had a whole company based upon PR. That you did companies like MasterCard and everything like that. Who knows better than you about how to promote? So obviously that's something really important.
Well, I was fortunate to learn from my mentor Alan Taylor, who created the industry of sports PR. Back when it was just individual PR agents, he created a business to represent companies like MasterCard, Gillette, Diageo, on and on. And what gave me the confidence actually to buy the team was I had success promoting other people's brands. And I thought, well, for somebody else, why can't I do it for myself? The Crunch became my brand. I viewed it as a brand, and we wanted to build the brand and have the brand stand for something tangible, so that the people in the Syracuse market, which had, Syracuse University was, the 1,000-pound, gorilla in the room, we know we had to bob and weave around them, and over the course of again 30 years, but a lot quicker, we established our brand as something that the fans wanted to embrace, and that's critical. And part of that is being active in the community, being active in charities, going to the schools, going to the hospitals. This year we came up with a mental wellness program that, because we've got the platform to do that people want to hear from us. We brought in mental wellness experts to speak. Our players go to speak in schools and whatnot. So it's important, I think, when you have a professional sports franchise at any level, to use that platform to help the community in which you play.
Well, community leader, PR innovator, an owner of a team, all from the mean streets of Brooklyn, and now a New York State Hockey Hall of Famer. Howard, congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony class of 2024, the third ever class that the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame is welcoming. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com. The man next to me needs no introduction. I mean, this man is immortal and a legend. The voice of the New York Rangers since 1984, although he did start as a stringer in the late 70s. He is a Hockey Hall of Famer in Toronto via the Foster Hewitt Award. He is now a New York State Hockey Hall of Famer. He is Sam Rosen. Sam, so thank you so much for being here this weekend.
It's good to be with you, Matthew, and this is very exciting for me, for my family. It came out of the blue. It was something that all of a sudden I got a call and we want to induct you into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. And
not that much out of the blue. We'll fill you in on the story on that later. So, Sam, you've already been inducted a few years ago into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, the one that everybody knows. Now, people are just starting to learn about the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. What does it mean to you to not only be recognized by the larger hockey world, but now by your own home state?
Well, I think just what you touched on, the fact that I'm a New Yorker, been in New York my entire life, lived here, and to be recognized by a state Hall of Fame is special. It's any time you're recognized for the work you've done and the efforts that you've put in and the length of time that I've been associated with Madison Square Garden and the New York Rangers. It's a tremendous honor. I mean, people have been touched by what you've done and they appreciate what you've done and they want to say thank you and welcome you into the Hall of Fame. And to me, as I'll say later on in my remarks, Hall of Fame means forever. So my family, on and on and on, will be able to go to the Hall of Fame and say, hey, there's our great-grandfather, our grandfather, our great-grandfather, our great-great-grandfather. It'll always be there.
Now, you touched on it. The meaning of being in the Hall of Fame is forever. Ranger fans obviously hope forever that you will be the voice of the New York Rangers. We've got a cameraman right here who, the day that you decide to hang up the microphone, he might very well jump off a bridge. But the Ranger fans love you. They want you to be around forever. But you have been around for 40 years. What are some of the new things that you're looking forward to as the league and the Rangers continue to evolve?
It's always exciting around the Rangers. I've been fortunate. I feel that most of the years, the majority of the years that I've called the games and been around the team, it's been a competitive team, and they've always brought in big name stars. Sometimes there were stars that were past their prime, but then there were stars that came in and helped the team win the Stanley Cup, and it just made it exciting. We've always had big name players. It's New York. It's the place you want to be, and I think that will continue to be the MO of the team is to seek those pieces that they can put together to find a way to win the championship. Winning the championship in the NHL is as tough as it gets. We've seen that. The Rangers have been to the conference final twice in the last 5 years. It's not easy. And the Rangers have made a push, but they continue to look forward. Great team, great talent, and hopefully an optimistic future.
And it really gives meaning to the phrase that you literally uttered in 1994. This one will last a lifetime. I'm sure Ranger fans, it feels like a lifetime, but it really does show how much, that one championship, it really does carry people, because here we are 30 years later, and people are still talking about it. Obviously, they hope that they had 29 others to accomplish it, but that's the way it is in the NHL. Sam, if you have to pick one last thing for you to see in your career, now obviously, again, we want you to be around, 300 years from now still calling Ranger games, but if you had to pick one last thing that you want to see for you to be able to say, now I've seen everything, what would it be?
Well, it would be the Rangers win the Cup again at Madison Square Garden. That's the ultimate. That moment in 1994 when I said those words came out of my mouth, this one will last a lifetime. It will stay with me forever, as long as I go on. That moment can never change. It was the most exhilarating moment. I grew up rooting for this team. I've seen the bad times, good times, as I mentioned, the stars of the game, and that moment when Madison Square Garden literally shook, the Rangers winning the Stanley Cup, there's nothing better. And if they could do that again and have a repeat performance, that would be extra special.
Would you go out on top with the team, or would you continue on?
Well, we just play it by ear. We play it year to year, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and I love it, and hopefully continue to do it.
And last question here, Sam, before we don't want to take you away from your family for too long. You're being inducted tonight with a lot of other great New Yorkers. Obviously, Howard Dolgon, owner of Syracuse Crunch. Dennis Potvin, who obviously caused you a lot of anguish. Ed Westfall, who caused the Rangers some anguish before you fully settled in. Mike Eruzione, Captain America, and so forth. So just what does it mean to be part of a class with all these people?
Well, these are people that are so special because they're all great players that did something of note, something that people will always remember. But for me, to be around them has been extra special. That's what makes my job so enjoyable, because night after night I get to see and call games involving the best players in the world. Even the lowest player on a roster in the NHL is one of the best in the world. They made it to the highest level of their profession. When you talk about Dennis Potvin, you're talking about an all-time great. When you're talking about Ken Morrow, who did played for the U.S. Olympic team, won a gold medal in Lake Placid, and then became a Stanley Cup champion the same year. That's incredible. Michael Eruzione, you mentioned, scoring the goal that beat the Russians, that led to the gold medal for the U.S. Eddie Westfall, one of the greatest people you could ever meet, the nicest gentleman, had a terrific career both in Boston and with the Islanders. So I'm blessed that I've been around so many great players, and to be honored with them at the same time is really something special to me.
You heard it right here, the man, the myth, legend, Sam Rosen, a New York State Hockey Hall of Famer. We'll be back with you shortly with some more of the inductees. Sam, enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your weekend, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony class of 2024. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com. My guest here is the general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Julien BriseBois. Julien is here because he's supporting his good friend and colleague, Howard Dolgon, the owner of Syracuse Crunch, who was inducted here tonight. Julien, what does it mean to see someone from your organization, someone like Howard, who has helped really just build a great system for you guys and for New York State to go into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame?
Well, obviously, it reflects positively on our franchise. Howard's his relentless pursuit of excellence with the Crunch has been an inspiration for all of us in the organization. So it reflects positively on our brand, the Lightning brand, but more than anything, really happy to see a good partner and a great friend, Howard, being honored. His contribution to the growth of hockey in the state of New York, and in particular the Syracuse area.
Now, you guys know Howard over the last over a dozen years, as both of you mentioned in your speeches tonight. When you first met Howard, what was your initial takeaway?
The first takeaway is how passionate he is about the game of hockey. He's passionate about the game. He's very passionate about his Crunch. He's passionate about now the Lightning. He's been just a tremendous partner. Always eager to chat shop, always eager to chat about the players, what's going on, throwing ideas out there for us to explore. Always there to provide us with support and resources to be successful. I couldn't ask for more out of a partner. And again, over the years, he's turned into a fabulous, cherished friend.
Now, he has obviously made the Crunch into such a team where the Crunch have done a lot of winning, almost as much as the Tampa Bay Lightning have done over the last decade plus. So when you guys have your inevitable phone calls and he's saying, you're saying, oh, we're going to call up whatever player, does he ever get annoyed? Hey, wait a second, we're trying to win here too.
No, it's never happened. He understands the partnership. He understands the role that the AHL plays, that the AHL affiliate plays for an NHL franchise. So he's always been nothing but supportive. Always eager for us to improve on the Crunch lineup, which again goes to his relentless pursuit of excellence. With regards to understanding the partnership and the relationship, he's been nothing but supportive.
Last question, Julien, we don't want to take up too much of the time for the celebration here. John Cooper obviously was a big part of Syracuse Crunch as well. So do you envision, are you going to make a nomination right now that John Cooper should follow in Howard's footsteps and be inducted, maybe not next year, but in the coming years?
He would give a great speech if he was inducted.
Thank you so much. Again, this has been the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Matthew Blittner with Julien BriseBois. Julien, thank you so much for your time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here again with another of the inductees in the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction class of 2024. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology, and I'm joined now by the original captain of the New York Islanders. In fact, he was the first player in Islanders franchise history, Mr. Ed Westfall. For some of you fans back home, yes, Ed Westfall then did become the Islander broadcaster afterwards, but he obviously is being inducted today based upon the strength of his playing career. And how does it feel to be a New York State Hockey Hall of Famer?
Well, it's always a tremendous honor when you have individual recognition. We always did things as a team, and so you're used to having a team recognition, but in this case it's individual and it's wonderful, and it was quite a surprise when I got a call.
Now, is it even more of a surprise, or is it just straight nice that you're going in with former teammate and the guy who succeeded you as Islanders captain, Dennis Potvin?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't. They didn't send me an itinerary as to what everything was going to be and who else was going in and who might be here. Yeah, there's a lot of people here I haven't seen in a long time. Some from the hockey world and some from the broadcasting world. So it's really exciting. I'm like a little kid in a candy store.
That's a great way to put it. I mean, you're smiling ear to ear over it. Normally, people being interviewed who don't generally smile ear to ear, so we have to thank you for that. Now, we want to take you to a pivotal moment of your career for a minute. And no, we're not talking about the goal in 1975. The Islanders come into the league. They are an expansion franchise, and they take you from the Boston Bruins. We know from Rennie LaRue, the founder of this event, that a couple of people from the Boston Bruins franchise have sent in letters congratulating you for this. How does it feel to know that not just your Islander life, but your Boston life is they're still thanking you 50 years later?
Well, yeah, they and some of them, the principals, not the players. I do know some of them not well, but Mr. They a few times we have met the Jacobs family, and Charlie Jacobs, he's the CEO, and Jeremy Jacobs, the owner. They've been very kind, and Cam Neely, of course, I knew Cam when he played. I interviewed him many times, watched him play, and I have a wonderful past in that Boston era, 11 years and 2 cups. And nice to be remembered. We just had the 100th anniversary of the Boston Bruins, so that was exciting. And of course, a year earlier, we had the 50th anniversary of the New York Islanders. And somebody asked me, was I around to play for both teams on opening day? I said, some days I feel that old, but no, not quite.
Well, you don't look that old, and you certainly don't act that old. In fact, I'm sure you probably get out there maybe not 22 minutes a night, but let's say 12 minutes a night. Think that would be fair?
Nope. No, I'm strictly a fan. I'm a fan of hockey, and obviously I'm a keen fan of the New York Islanders, and that's the reason I still have a home on Long Island.
And Islander fans love you. They love that whole team that you guys had. I mean, obviously you left shortly before the whole dynasty began, but you were a part of. Without you and everything that you said, the rest of that doesn't happen.
Well,
so
I
you have to take some credit for that.
Matthew, that's kind, but you could see it grow. I was lucky enough to watch them draft and pick these young players and make some trades, and you could see as each one of them come into the team, to see them grow, get better, and you knew at some point. I was a little bit disappointed in 78 and 9 that I thought we were there. I thought we were ready to win the cup, but apparently we weren't. But anyway, they did win it in 80. And Clark Gillies' great line, he said, just think, if Westfall had retired 2 years earlier, we'd have won 6 cups.
I actually remember Gilly saying that to me in an interview. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that that's not true, just because teams have to learn how to win, and in order to learn how to win, you have to lose.
Well, he was too big for me to take on, so I'll just hope he was joking. I know he was. I was there when he first said it.
Now, 1975, pivotal year for the Islanders. Made the playoffs for the first time. J.P. Parisi wins Game 3 against the Rangers, and the Islanders on.
He scored the goal, right?
And then the Islanders go on to face the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
And the Islanders, this is big for those of you hockey fans who are just paying attention to what happened in the Stanley Cup Final a few weeks ago. The Islanders went down 3-0, not too dissimilar to what the Edmonton Oilers just faced against the Florida Panthers.
Right.
But unlike the Edmonton Oilers, who could not find a way to score in Game 7 to win, the man right here found a way to score and win in Game 7. In fact, the Islanders won 1-0. What's your favorite recollection from that goal?
Well, I mean, it was a long series and emotional. We beat the Rangers the last regular season game to make the playoffs by a point. They were seeded number 8. and we were seeded number 8. They were 1, we were 8. So we played them in that short playoff series, and no one ever thought we'd have a chance against them. And then Pittsburgh was seeded 2, I believe, and then they didn't think we'd have a chance against them, and it didn't look like it when they went up 3-0. But you know, there's crazy things happen in Game 7. So yeah, it was. You know, you're so into it that you don't have a whole lot of time until it's all over to reflect on it. And I remember, Bert Marshall passed me the puck, and I was along the boards on the right side. I went in, and Gary Ennis was in goal, and I just fired a backhander at the net. It went in over his shoulder. You know, backhand, top shelf. Hey, how about that? 1-0 with 5 minutes to go. So, yeah, that was a big turning point. But you know, when you think about it, right after that, we played Philadelphia. We lost the first 3 games, and then we came back, tied the series, but we couldn't do it back to back.
You can tell he's a broadcaster because he stole the next question right out of my mouth. So, but thank you very much for going to that series. Now, as the captain of the team, I mean, we all know that the team has to come together to perform a reverse sweep, as it's called. So, the leader of the team has to obviously have some big influence in that. So, how did you handle it? How did you address the team in order to get this red-tad group to move on?
Well, no, along with what Al Arbor said to the team in general, and then we do things in the dressing room individually, and and some players, if you feel like they're not really tuned in, and you get them into it, and it's just really a rah-rah. It's not any different than college or kids or anything. You just, at that point, you're just trying to make sure everybody doesn't become the weakest link in the chain. So you want everybody to do their best, shift at a time. That's that old cliche, but it works. I don't care. I'll bet you in that dressing room in the finals, either with Edmonton or with the Florida Panthers, they were saying the same thing. We got to win the game, and the only way to win it is you're responsible every time you go on the ice. Be ready, be sharp, So it works, and sometimes it doesn't because somebody's going to lose.
Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it? You have a winner, you have a loser. Even when the NHL had ties, there was still a team who won and a team who lost eventually at the end of the day. So we do have to ask though. Here this weekend up in Troy, New York, you're, as you mentioned before, you're reunited with a lot of people who you didn't expect to see. Who are you maybe most excited to see that you at least know is going to be here? I mean, the night is young. You should still maybe run into some more people.
Well, I have a wonderful, thought process with, for instance, the gold medal winners. Kenny Morrow, I was there when he came and joined the Islanders, and I was broadcasting, so I got to have some sessions with him, and Mike Eruzione, who I've known from the gold medal team, but I also know him as a golfer. He and I played in the Celebrity Golf Tour for many, many years, and he's an excellent golfer and a fun guy. So
let me guess, you're an 8 handicap.
Yeah. How do you know that? You look at my card, my Metropolitan Golf Association.
Just you know what? You took the words out of my mouth on the last question, so I'm taking it out of your mind.
I say I'm a 9. I think I'm like a 9.7 index. So, anyway.
It's all right. Much better than me. I'm about a 20.
So the idea, that would sound like a debate. Anyway, so with Dennis Potvin, I see a fair amount, and occasionally, if I'm at a hockey game and Sam Rosen is and Joe Micheletti are doing the game, particularly if it's at the UBS Center, an Islander and Ranger thing, I get to say hello to him. But he's been a good friend for 44 years. Yeah, well, as Dennis. Well, actually, all of them. And I think I knew Kenny Morrow from '80 and Mike Eruzione and Dennis. And and then Stan Fischler is here, one of the fellows that I really enjoyed working with all the years. And
I hear there might be a reunion of you two on camera later today.
I don't know. Listen, I come up here just to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it, and I don't know what's happening. I can tell here, there, sign that, do this. No, it's all fun. Yeah.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is, we can sit here with Ed Westfall all day long, but he does have to get inside to be inducted. So we thank him very much for joining us. Ed Westfall, New York State Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2024. Ed, we thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your United weekend.
Oh, it's exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with our final guest of the evening from the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2024 induction ceremony. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com. I'm joined by Captain America himself. No, this is not a Marvel movie. This is not the Avengers. He is quite literally the man who did believe in miracles, Mike Eruzione. Mike, I know you spoke during your speech about how it was all opportunity. So if you can just tell our viewers, what this opportunity to be part of the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame means to you.
Well, I mean, you look at the inductees and the names of the people, the men and women, boys and girls, whatever you want to call them. Today, you got to be careful what you're saying. So, to be a part of that class and part of that group of people, it's a great honor. It's just, I think, a tribute to all the hard work that I've put in myself, and fortunately, the coaches that I've had and the opportunities that I've had to put me in the position that I'm in. Now,
you mentioned during your speech that you had the opportunity to light the Olympic torch, in 2002 in Salt Lake City, and you obviously have met the president. You've gone to the White House. Does it surprise you how enduring the 1980 team has been 44 years later?
Yeah, I think sometimes, but I think, obviously moments like this, the movie Miracle, when they talk about great sporting events, our name, our team keeps coming up and coming up. So, it was a long time ago, and I realize it, and my teammates realize it, but it's nice every once in a while when people remember us.
And another thing you mentioned in the speech was also how in the movie, Herb Brooks is portrayed to be kinder or more friendly than he was. It seems very difficult to believe just from, seeing it. I mean, again, it is movie, so we don't want to say that movie mimics real life too much, but how much harder could Herb have been?
That's how coaches coached in that era. They were demanding, they challenged you every day. And in the movie, they have him smiling in the movie. His wife was in the movie, and I don't honestly remember seeing his wife at all during the year. So they kind of showed a little more of the family, a softer side of Herb. But as a coach, that's how it was, and you deal with it. What are you going to quit? I ain't quitting. You can yell at me all you want.
Yeah, well, you know what? That is true. Today people think John Tortorella is a difficult coach. Would you say Tortorella is more or less difficult than Herb Brooks?
Well, I've never played under Torts, so I can't answer that. But I know people have played under talk about how challenging it is. But hey, that's the business you're in.
Yeah. And tonight, obviously, an opportunity to go in with Ken Morrow, who unfortunately couldn't be here, your longtime teammate. Mark Taylor went in, Dennis Potvin, Ed Westfall, Sam Rosen. What does it mean, some of those people who you decided to be part of New York State with?
Well, obviously, Kenny Morrow was a great teammate and a great friend, so to be associated with him. I've known Potsy for quite a while, through the late Clark Gillies, and his golf outings. Sam Rosen, I used to actually work a little with Sam. And Eddie Westfall, I watched Eddie Westfall play when he played for the Bruins. I think I was in high school with Eddie when Eddie was playing. So, people that you remember and have great respect for.
And last question here. Obviously, the U.S. is supposedly going back to the Olympics. The NHL is supposedly going back in 2026. Hopefully that does remain to be the case. What would you say to whoever is going to be named captain? Obviously, it'll probably be an NHLer. What would you say to that person who has to take the mantle of being Captain America?
I don't think I have anything to say to those people unless they want to talk to me. But they wouldn't be in the position they are in if they weren't great leaders and clearly great players. But whoever's going to be the captain of the next team clearly is going to have the credentials and the respect and the trust of his teammates.
Well said indeed, and ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up our evening here tonight at the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony class of 2024. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com, joined by, again, Captain America Mike Eruzione. Mike, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with our final guest of the evening from the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2024 induction ceremony. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com. I'm joined by Captain America himself. No, this is not a Marvel movie. This is not the Avengers. He is quite literally the man who did believe in miracles, Mike Eruzione. Mike, I know you spoke during your speech about how it was all opportunity. So if you can just tell our viewers, what this opportunity to be part of the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame means to you.
Well, I mean, you look at the inductees and the names of the people, the men and women, boys and girls, whatever you want to call them. today you got to be careful what you're saying. So to be a part of that class and part of that group of people, it's a great honor. It's just, I think, a tribute to all the hard work that I've put in myself, and fortunately the coaches that I've had and the opportunities that I've had to put me in the position that I'm in.
Now, you mentioned during your speech that you had the opportunity to light the Olympic torch, in 2002 in Salt Lake City, and you obviously have met the president, you've gone to the White House. Does it surprise you how enduring the 1980 team has been 44 years later?
Yeah, I think sometimes, but I think, obviously moments like this, the movie Miracle, when they talk about great sporting events, our name, our team keeps coming up and coming up. So, it was a long time ago, and I realize it, and my teammates realize it, but it's nice every once in a while when people remember us.
And another thing you mentioned in the speech was also how in the movie, Herb Brooks is portrayed to be kinder or more friendly than he was. It seems very difficult to believe just from, seeing it. I mean, again, it is movie, so we don't want to say that movie mimics real life too much, but how much harder could Herb have been?
That's how coaches coached in that era. They were demanding, they challenged you every day. And in the movie, they have him smiling in the movie. His wife was in the movie, and I don't honestly remember seeing his wife at all during the year. So they kind of showed a little more of the family, a softer side of Herb. But as a coach, that's how it was, and you deal with it. What are you going to quit? I ain't quitting. You can yell at me all you want.
Yeah, well, you know what? That is true. Today people think John Tortorella is a difficult coach. Would you say Tortorella is more or less difficult than Herb Brooks?
Well, I've never played under Torts, so I can't answer that. But I know people have played under talk about how challenging it is. But hey, that's the business you're in.
Yeah. And tonight, obviously, an opportunity to go in with Ken Morrow, who unfortunately couldn't be here, your longtime teammate. Mark Taylor went in, Dennis Potvin, Ed Westfall, Sam Rosen. What does it mean, some of those people who you decided to be part of New York State with?
Well, obviously, Kenny Morrow was a great teammate and a great friend, so to be associated with him. I've known Potsy for quite a while, through Clark Gillies, the late Clark Gillies, and his golf outings. Sam Rosen, I used to actually work a little with Sam. And Eddie Westfall, I watched Eddie Westfall play when he played for the Bruins. I think I was in high school with Eddie when Eddie was playing. So, people that you remember and have great respect for.
And last question here. Obviously, the U.S. is supposedly going back to the Olympics. The NHL is supposedly going back in 2026. Hopefully that does remain to be the case. What would you say to whoever is going to be named captain? Obviously, it'll probably be an NHLer. What would you say to that person who has to take up the mantle of being Captain America?
I don't think I have anything to say to those people unless they want to talk to me. But they wouldn't be in the position they are in if they weren't great leaders and clearly great players. But whoever's going to be the captain of the next team clearly is going to have the credentials and the respect and the trust of his teammates.
Well said indeed, and ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up our evening here tonight at the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony class of 2024. I'm Matthew Blittner with Sportsology.com, joined by, again, Captain America Mike Eruzione. Mike, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.